the colors, excuse me, that I like to use on bits of trunk like this. On an evergreen, you know, you could use it with arbutus. Well, you could use it any tree you want, really. But here's what we're going to use here. On the shadow side, burnt sienna. And ultramarine blue. And a bit of white, just a bit. Not much. Now we'll go one step towards... Am I even recording this? Okay, good. Hey, being in frame would help. You know, I know, I just lined it up in frame. It's like the camera has a mind of its own. Maybe it's this cheap tripod. Okay. Working our way towards the lighter side. I just don't want a dark and a light side. I want a graduation point, right? We need that. That's a detail I don't need right there at all. I actually put a little too much white in there. Nah, you know, I'll leave it. I'll leave it for the moment. These are dead stumps, but up in British Columbia where I live, these evergreens, in the wetter climates or next to a lake, next to the ocean, what have you, it often takes a very long time before they go sort of silver, you know, they'll be red for many years. Reddish. So I decided to stick with that scheme for the moment. Staying quite red. Another video. I don't know how long this is going to be. No, it's not going to be very long. I'm just going to get these stumps in place, more or less, on camera, and then we'll go from there. Getting kind of sloppy here. Don't like that. I know fussing around too much doesn't make for loose painting either, but I have this voice inside of me that is always nagging and saying, no, that's not quite right, this isn't quite right, blah 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 blah. And I do tend to listen to it. And although I'm not fond of it sometimes, it does work for me. At least I think it does. becoming too detailed with these trunks, these stumps. I don't know. Yeah, I probably am. I probably am. All right. All right, I have to use my cheater brush now. Sorry, guys. I just feel so bad. I'll probably never sleep again. Okay. Just gonna check and make sure I have enough paint on my fingers. Yep, that looks okay. So. Okay, we're gonna scrape that off. Yeah, it's in the foreground. I'm gonna push my luck a little bit. And I'm gonna put a couple of highlights on here. You know, we're still within sort of our focal area. Now, I know I'm very zoomed in right now, and I wanted to do that just so that you could see this little action here. These trunks are always kind of rewarding too. I know it's not maybe quite the focal area, but I just enjoy painting them. Probably because I just love putting burnt sienna on things. We're going to consider them either done or just fine for the moment. I'm going to square off the camera and show you the misery of my water. First, let's back off. Let's back off, Mr. Camera, and let's drop the whole painting down so that we can remove any unnecessary glare. And I'll move my mouse so my computer stays awake. Okay, so as you can see, I cleaned up the edges along here, along these trunks. I put the rock shapes in. This was such a large area, I felt it needed to have something, breaking it up, some sort of a design that works well, you know. It's not, you know, it's not an entity to itself, it's all supportive. Still has to be good. So what I have here is some bedrock poking through the topsoil. It's not going to have a lot of attention paid to it. I don't want to lay something that's this high a chroma down here. I think this is about our limit as far as we go down. We're going to have a bit of purple, a hint of it maybe. We're more than likely going to use more of these colors, ultramarine blue and raw umber. A little bit of alizarin crimson here and there. You know, slight variations in these rocks. I have been struggling with the water. I've played with it and played with it and played with it. As you can see, this has changed quite a bit. I'm no longer going in this motion, taking this darkness and flipping it over. Nope, it wasn't going to work for me. So I decided just to focus more on the light that was coming from the right-hand side. Catching a few wave tops, which all look extremely amateurish, and I'm going to have to work on that. I just don't have my mojo for the water for the moment. So, you know, as painters know, you need flow. You need blocks of time in which you can just, if things are going well, you can just go and go and go, and that sometimes they work. If they don't work, you still should keep painting. You know, that's a disciplinarian thing, or a discipline thing. But I just couldn't get anywhere with the water. So I've left it. I left it for now. And I would have, you know, as you would normally work from distance to foreground, I would have worked in here. But I need to clean these lines up because, as you can see, my messing around has smudged my hard edges that I had there before. I don't want that to be, I don't want to paint onto the wet paint yet. I need this paint to set a little bit. It doesn't have to dry perfectly, but it does have to set a little bit. Because I want to reinstitute lines here that are fairly strong. So I thought, fine, I still want to keep painting. I'll jump down to here. Because this part of the water was dry enough or set enough that I could cut some hard lines in there. And this was all away from the water, so this was all just wash in. So I laid a few dark lines in, drew my rocks, you know, defined this area here. And painted in the grass, catching a little bit of light on top from above, going into the shadows here. You know, there's something about shaving the corners, right? We've gone here, so that's less important, not as much light coming through. Shave the corner here, not as much light coming through. Here, I'm not worried about it. I don't want everything to be symmetrical, of course, but it's a nice little cheat sometimes. When you well, it's not really a cheat. It's just a matter of design. It's good to place less importance on not only the edges, top and bottom, side and side, but on the corners. You don't want, there are always exceptions to what I'm telling you right now, but in general you don't want lines running off the corners, you know, definitely not directly off the corners. You know, we get a little bit close here, that's okay. And sometimes you can, but as I say, with exceptions, I tend to like to avoid that, but I paint landscapes, and I like it to be a little less geometric looking, if you know what I mean. And I don't like a person's eye wandering off. Where's that line going? You know, not to meet up the corner. It makes no sense. So I'd rather cut across it like so, fade it out. Cut across it like so, fade it out slightly. You know, here I didn't do it. Down here well, it's running off the painting, but it's right to left. You know, it's not a corner thing. Although this side of the foreground will be pretty dark, right? I think that's it. I need to work on this water. Pretty much, I think. Well, I don't have to do it next. I could keep procrastinating. I could go to these rocks next. I might do that. But I need to have a clear vision of what I want for where the bush meets the water and the water itself. You know, these lines are all too long, and I know what to do to avoid that, but I'd like to make it not adequate, but rather more than adequate. Can I fix this? Yes. Can I improve it? Yeah, I want to improve it by a good leap. So that's what's requiring a bit of thought. So I guess I'll just start. I'll likely poke in on the rocks there, and then if I haven't got ideas about this yet, then maybe I'll start working on one of the trees. You know, one tree at a time. Anyway, I like these little things. I think they worked out okay. That's enough. Goodbye. Yeah. See you later.